Now we're rolling. Damage Plan MMA podcast. We are back with another Fighter Spotlight interview. This Fighter Spotlight interview, we're welcoming Mr. Ox Williams, who will be fighting February 4th on the LFA 123 card. Ox, welcome to the podcast, sir.
Jason, Zack, thank you guys for having me on here today.
Absolutely.
Yes. Ox has got the sound set up. He's got the equipment in the background. You've done this a few times before, right, Ox?
I have. Quite a few times.
So, Ox, when did you sign to fight this fight for LFA on February 4th?
I'm sorry, say it again. It was skipping off for a second.
Oh, when did you sign? How long have you been signed for this fight to fight for LFA on February 4th?
I've been signed for this fight now. It's been almost a month.
Okay. So not super short notice, but not like super long notice either.
Well, I didn't have my opponent that I have now, Ngannou. Before I had a different opponent, and so yes, I've been set for this fight for a month now. But then that opponent backed out due to the COVID. So I'm willing to fight whoever. So they brought this guy up next, and then still signed the same name on the line, and here we go.
Is the opponent still this Tanner Marlowe kid, or is it a different kid now?
No, it probably still says that on Tapology, but it's his name is Ngannou, who he recently fought for LFA about 8 months ago.
Okay.
What do you know about Mr. Ngannou?
We're equal height, both long range fighters. He's somewhat of a striker, as they say. Yeah, that's about it. I mean, I did my research. I've watched a few videos like I do with any other opponent that I have. I never take anyone lightly. Always study everyone and, go to work like it's my last fight.
So if I remember correctly, you have fought at heavyweight before now, but you feel like 205 is your correct weight class?
Yes, absolutely. Most amateurs don't understand how weight classes properly work because, you're going to come in, no one's going to force you to be on your weight like you should be. But when you're ready to step up to a professional level, you have to understand that those guys at heavyweight are cut into heavyweight. Most of them are. So if you plan on being a champ one day, either you're going to be one badass motherfucker who's going to take lots of, excuse my language, take lots of punches to the face and still work your way in, or, you're going to be just as big as they are. And I give kudos to DC for being the shorter guy and dominating the heavyweight range, but that can't be everybody. For me, I feel better at light heavyweight from my natural frame, according to the body mass index chart. I'm also a certified personal trainer, so understanding where I should be in my weight, it helps with my career as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like it.
We thought we were going to get to see you and Big Kent here in Salt Lake City at some point. Kent Mafaleo, right?
Yeah, I wanted to take the heavyweight fight because I couldn't get anything in light heavyweight. But then once more of my actual weight class started rolling in, I'm like, okay, that's where I want to be at. That's where I'm at. So I took the commitment to drop down from 250 to down to 205. So my last fight that I had over in what was it? This was Fort and what was it? I'm sorry, look back again. Fort Wayne, Indiana. It's on the poster on my wall. Fort Wayne, Indiana. I just said, this is my time now to make 205. I can't keep saying that, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And that was a last minute fight. And I took that and pushed myself to get on 205. And now my everyday walk around weight is about 230. So this time cutting 205 is pretty easy.
So the weight cuts pretty smooth for you?
Oh, yes. I'm big into nutrition. I don't eat meat. I've been vegan for a while. So I go back and forth between vegan and vegetarian.
How does that play into training? I'm always curious about. I do nutrition as well. I'm a personal trainer. I'm same way. So this conversation interests me. How does that play out because actually there's another guy at your gym that I know does the same thing. How does that play into training and energy levels, muscle mass retention? How does all that play into that?
It can be a killer if you're not balancing everything out correctly. And I've had times where I felt fatigued. I wasn't getting enough carbs. I didn't feel like I was actually benefiting from the diet. I felt like I was losing too much weight at one point. So this isn't my first time trying this. I'm 32 years old. I've been fighting since I was 23, but I started making the jump to 205 at 25. So when I moved from Chicago to Vegas, I had an opportunity to fight on King of the Cage, and they said they couldn't get any heavyweight fights. All they had was 205. And I kept saying like, damn, well, here it is. Let me go ahead and cut. So I went ahead and I cut, but the only thing I was really eating was veggies during the daytime to snack. But in the mornings, I would have all my carbs. And then I would fast from 7 o'clock up until the next day. So I still do that now. I just have all my carbs during the daytime. It actually works well on my stomach because I'm not blowing up my stomach. I'm not feeling like I'm,
Yeah.
you know, like when you eat too much, you're bloating yourself. And now you feel like you have to eat that same exact portion to be full again. So I would just decrease my portions and just basically keep it all around carbs. So it's like my recipe pretty much.
I'm glad you touched on that because there's a common theme amongst amateur fighters that they need to cut their carbs when they're getting ready for a fight camp, and it drives me nuts. I'm like,
That's your energy.
no, like that's your energy. You got to have the carbs.
Yeah.
That's your fuel for the fight. And it,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm hopefully I can change that a little bit, especially with our local guys up here. But it's very good to hear you talk like that. So
See, that's the problem. The big, I'm sorry, not to cut you off real quick.
No.
The big problem with fighters and believing that carbs is good for them is that they think that it'll get stuck on them. But then you have to work your ass off. You just have to be trained and it'll come off. You can't sit here and think that, oh, I'm eating a certain diet, my body will get me to where I need to be. Or if I'm just sweating, my body will. No, you have to put in the work for that food to actually be beneficial to your body.
You got to feed the machine, man. You got to keep your body fed
sir.
For what you're going to be doing.
Yes,
I don't think what they don't understand is, yeah, you're losing the weight when you're cutting that because you're in such a calorie deficit for so long. You're sacrificing muscle. Now you're going to end up going up a weight class because you're going to put on so much weight after the fight when you start adding that food back in there and eating like crap again that you're not going to know why. And the reason is because you're starving yourself for 8 weeks to try to make weight.
Yes.
But anyways, back to your fight, Ox.
Yes.
Going off on a little tangent.
Well, you're good, man. We can talk about anything.
So how do you expect this fight to play out? You said he kind of fancies himself as a striker. Is that somewhere where you feel like you had an advantage and will keep it on the feet, or how do you feel like this fight plays out for you?
I'm one of those fighters where, depending on what kind of opponent I have, that's how we're fighting. So if we're going to throw hands, we're throwing hands, but everything has to have a game plan. Everything has to, not just be all get in there and throw hands and keep punching and punching. Like I hear some of these corners with some of these fighters, and I feel sorry for the fighters because their coaches aren't really giving them proper advice. Me and my team sit down and we look at our opponents and see what we have. Okay, this person's good at that, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to pretty much put the game around what they're good at. So he's somewhat of a striker. I plan on striking, but then keeping the distance. But still, it's an in and out game. It's hard to explain how I move. Once you see how I fight, you see it's basically off of my fight IQ. So it's just like being in a battle role or playing soccer. You don't think that, oh, this is how the game is going to go. You just have to move strategically.
I like that.
Are you training at Extreme Couture?
No, I'm actually at Las Vegas Combat Academy and Syndicate.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Those are two places I go back and forth at. I was at Extreme for about 3 years.
Yeah, they still have that on Tapology too. That's why I asked. So
I'm sending in emails. I'm like, hey, let's fix this. Let's get this correct.
Tapology isn't always the rightest information in the world, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
That's awesome, man. So not looking past this fight, are you looking to be pretty active and fight a bunch this year, or
Yes.
what are your goals going forward after this fight?
My goal is to stay active. After getting this W, I'm not going to sit here and it's time to celebrate. Let's go drink beer and party. I'm not that guy. I've never been that guy. I don't like people very much. Immediately after fight, I'm going back to my mom's house because it's right there in Chicago or Indiana. It's in Horseshoe Casino. It's Hammond, Indiana. Literally 15 minutes from my mom's house. I'm going right back to the house I grew up in, sit there, have dinner with my family, and then get on the plane 6 in the morning and come back to Vegas and keep training. Like nothing happened. Another day in the office.
We're going to have to get you up to Salt Lake to fight this year.
I would love to. So me and my wife just got married, and I had just took her to Cedar.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Oh, Cedar City.
And it was nice. Hello cabin. I mean, it wasn't our official honeymoon, just a getaway real quick on New Year's.
Yeah.
And it was real nice. But yeah, Utah's nice, and I've been wanting to fight there for a minute because I got family there too and friends. So it'd be cool to get out there.
We can
Salt
make
Lake's
that happen.
awesome. Yeah, we can make that.
We can make that happen.
Roman.
We'll talk to Roman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll make it happen.
Yeah.
Somebody just has to say yes. That's all. It's not just Roman.
That's all we need. Yeah, you do have to have a dancing partner, right?
Let's see.
Yeah, got to have a dancing partner. And that was one of the most difficult parts getting my pro career started. We chose a kind of an awkward time to jump into pro because right before I took my first pro fight, well, not even taking my first. I've been trying to turn pro since 2019, and then the pandemic hits, and now we're like, shit, is there any fights gonna happen? And it just every time I would sign a contract, literally, I think I went through 12 fights in the first few years of the pandemic, and it just kept flopping left and right. Everything just kept going down, and Roman just kept saying, just stay active, keep training. And I never missed a beat. I just kept hitting the gym. You know, when they say, oh, he had a 2-year layoff, I love that. I love when it says like the person had a 2-year layoff because you never know what they were doing in those 2 years of them not being active on TV, you know?
Yeah. We've seen it. We've seen it time and time again in the UFC. We'll talk about it because we break down all the UFC fights and stuff. And sometimes people have a 2-year layoff. And it's always, well, why did they have a 2-year layoff? Is it because they couldn't get any fights? Is it because of injury? Like, what was going on? You see it sometimes. You see somebody return after a long layoff, and it's like, oh, they've been in the gym working. They're way better than they were, right? Or you see them off a 2-year layoff, and you're like, oof, like that person looked like they're starting over in their career again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but you don't know until you see it in the cage, right?
But you know it, like you said, you know it when you see it because
you know it when you see it. Though. That's right.
Oh, it's so bad. And not to throw names out there, but what was it? Nate Diaz. Was it Nick Diaz or Nate Diaz?
Nick, his brother.
Nick.
Oh yeah,
Nick.
He definitely wasn't training. He wasn't training.
But so imagine what he would have been doing for the last 5 years. He'd been out the way, like gone, bruh. And when he got back in there, his striking looked like it was so timid. It didn't seem like it was on point. It was just like
he did
like
not
all over the place.
He did not want to.
No, he didn't want to.
Don't let your ego get you in there. I'm telling you, your ego will kill you, and your ego is your friend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
the problem with other guys.
But like like we saw who was Jessica Pena recently. She returned back after a long layoff from the UFC. She looked phenomenal.
Yes.
You know,
Brian Ortega. Brian Ortega when he took that layoff after the
long layoff.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. You can't even tell he's a layoff.
Yeah.
Ox, what did you think of what did you think of the fights this weekend, Francis and Gain?
Oh,
are you a fan?
You know what?
Do you watch the UFC? Okay.
I do. I watch fights. What I have to say about that Francis fight, I'm proud of that guy because people think that because you come into the sport doing one style, that's your only style and you'll never learn anything else. It's not true. You can teach an old dog new tricks if they're willing to learn. Yeah. So in this sport, you have to be able, not just in this sport, in this world period. Like you see a lot of entrepreneurs constantly always staying afloat, or those people who are big. I don't know if you guys are big into crypto. I am, but like how people are big on top of the newest NFTs. You have to just be with the new. As long as you keep up with the times, you'll always prevail. So a guy like Francis coming in and went from not having okay striking to phenomenal striking to now being somewhat of a wrestler.
Yeah,
give him his props. Give him his props. And then not just that. But they took their game plan and they put it against him because they knew that Cyril Gane was more of a striker. So don't stand there and bang with him. Yes, we know Francis has power and he knock him out, but why do that? Take this man into deep waters he hasn't been in yet. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about it just on the podcast before here. It's guys like Francis and Usman that get to that top level and they're still leveling up as champions. They're still getting better. They're still in the gym improving. You don't see that too often. Most guys get to that point. They get to the top of the mountain and they're like, okay, I made it. Now I'm going back down.
They try to maintain.
Yeah. They just try to maintain what they have. They're not trying to improve.
No, you have to be willing to fix the holes.
Yeah. I mean,
everybody has holes.
It's true. My jiu-jitsu game has a lot of holes.
Swiss cheese, huh?
He needs a little bit more cheese and less Swiss in there.
Oh man. So Ox, February 4th, man, how do you see the fight playing out?
My hand getting raised at the end, of course. But doing what I always do best, using my striking, touching them in and out, keeping it going. And it just goes there. I'm like a ticking time bomb, man. I take my time. I use my good pace. I like to use a lot of pressure. I stalk real good, and the radar will find the bomb. Well, the bomb will find the radar, pretty much,
Yeah.
or the target, as you say. But I don't know. You have to visualize this stuff, man. I don't like to overthink it. I don't like to put worry or doubt into things. I always like to stay positive minded. As long as I'm confident in my training, I'm confident in what I can do in the ring. So that's it for you. As far as that part, how I see it. You got to manifest
February
these
4th.
things.
Yeah,
Yes.
you do. Yeah, you do. Well, Ox, do you? We won't take any more of your time. Do you have any sponsors you want to give a shout out to? Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Yes. Shout out to Contenders. They hooked you up with some amazing shirts. Yeah, you rock it right there. Yeah, there you go. Okay, I see it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got the
Yeah, shout
undies and everything.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I love the undies, man. They always fit so
Oh,
perfectly nice. They're real
they're
comfortable.
great.
Yeah. Shout out to Contenders, Strikers Only, Gentleman Fight Club. Those are my three main ones that I rock with the most. That are always hooking me up.
Cool.
Nice. February 4th. We look forward to watching you throw down in the LFA cage. Mr. Ox, thank you for joining us today.
Yes, and everyone they can find me at _KingOx_205 champ on Instagram. Jason, Zack, thank you guys for having me today. See you guys on February 4th.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Thanks again for joining us, Ox.
Yes, you guys have a good one.